The algorithms, as I earlier mentioned, are set of instructions that we design as a solution for algorithms. We can write in three ways. In the last class I mentioned as structured English. That means the logical steps which we think of, that these steps are a solution for a problem. So these logical steps are subsets of instructions which are straightforward, which is in straightforward English, words for commands and mathematical problems. Like for example, I gave an example in the last class. Take first number or you may use word input first number, input second number, add two numbers, output result. Many just the other method is flowchart. And flowcharts are used to show the flow of instructions or the flow of the program, like start, and then some symbols are used like this. For example, some kind of a loop is also shown, and some kind of a conditional statement is shown, and then on yes it does something else, and on no it does something else, and then the program ends. So kind of thing. The last method of writing algorithms is pseudocode. A method of showing the detailed logical steps in an algorithm using identifiers with meaningful names and mathematical operators to represent a logical or represent a solution. Pseudocode does not need to follow the syntax of specific programming language, but it should provide sufficient detail to allow a program to be written in a high level language. For example, if we see over here this program solution, addition of two numbers, what we have to do here, I'm going to give you a lot of practice on writing pseudocode. So at the moment, I'm just giving a little explanation of the solution that I wrote in structured English above, how to write that in pseudocode. So I'll be doing something like this, and I'll explain you in a while. Declare variable 1 as number, declare variable 2 as number, declare variable 3 as number, input, or even I can make it a little more understandable by writing some prompts, messages to the user of the program. Output, please enter first number. Input, variable 1, and then I'll say output, please enter second number, and then input variable 2, and then I'll say variable 3 is assigned, mathematically say equals to variable 1 plus variable 2, and then we'll say output, the result of two numbers plus variable 3. So this is what our pseudocode is of these instructions written in simple English. So we've converted this in a pseudocode. And once our pseudocodes are being written down, we can give this to the programmer to actually write this program in one of the languages that we might we would have decided for writing our code, like VB.NET, Python, or whatever. So what we have done over here is only a design done by an analyst. By observing and analyzing the problem, the analyst found a solution of the problem. Now this pseudocode or flowchart, structured English code, will be given to a programmer. The programmer will convert this solution of the problem, into a programming language code. Using the syntax of that programming language. Syntax means every programming language has its own rules of writing. For example, we write English from the left side. And we have different alphabets and different grammatical rules for English. But in Urdu, we write from the right side, and we have different symbols and rules to write Urdu. So likewise, every programming language has some kind of its own rules to write the code. So simply, we design a solution in one of these ways, and then the programmer converts it into a programming language code. So this is a definition of pseudocode, and you can add into this that solution that pseudocode does not follow any syntax, a specific programming language syntax, but it should provide sufficient detail.
सर आप सिंटेक्स का मीनिंग दोबारा बताएंगे?
Syntax, I said rules of a programming language, that how we are going to write the code in the different commands that are allowed to be used in a programming language is, you may say it as syntax. So the pseudocode, because it doesn't follow any specific programming language syntax, it uses mathematical operators, logical statements, and explanations. So it is something near to our own language. Like you see here, some simple language is used to explain, and some simple commands, and some operators are used to describe what is happening here. And here you see a mathematical operation is being used to display that what is happening in our program, in our pseudocode. And here we also use the plus sign again here in pseudocode, so just explaining that what is happening. Now when we'll be learning pseudocode, so we'll be looking and following the Cambridge outline regarding how you are going to write the pseudocode. There are some also rules regarding that, and I'll be telling you when we'll be practicing pseudocodes. Resume. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, that structured English is a solution of a problem in your own simple English, and it has to have some kind of a flow and steps. So what I will do, whenever I ask somebody to create a solution of grocery shopping, everybody can ask his own solution. Like if I want to follow some steps for my shopping, I might give these tips. Number one is create lists, drive to grocery store, then start shopping, then pay bill, drive back home, maybe I would end over here. Now I can refine it, and refining your solution is known as step-wise refinement. Means that you give more detail to your solution. So this is known as stepwise refinement, sometimes also known as top-down approach. So this can appear in exam as a question. What does mean stepwise refinement? For example, if examiner say if this solution is further given a detail of what it is said as in computing. So we'll say stepwise refinement or top-down approach. Sorry, let me erase it. Top-down approach. Now let me just refine only create list. So if I refine my create list for grocery, I may say list of kitchen items, list of maybe wardrobes, list of kids, list of parents, list of grandparents, list of what? List of home accessories. So everybody would come up with different things. Now this further could be uh, uh, broken down, and or maybe could be given further detail. Like if I just look into list of kitchen, I might say check out items in the fridge, check out items in the freezer, check out items in the kitchen cabinets, blah 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 blah. Like a list of wardrobes, I can do a lot many things. So if I ask somebody to two different people or four different people to refine this one bullet point, so everyone would come up with a different solution. So that is why whenever two programmers write a solution of one program, they they come up with different paths. They come up with different solutions. But now, if you look at this flow chart, it is telling us that how the program is flowing. So when we start a program, some variables, I'll tell you what variables are in a while. Variables are assigned with some values, and then we give out a message. So this parallelogram is used for input and output. This is used for start and end, and this symbol is used for showing some kind of a processing. So here you see this symbol is used to output and saying output enter the number of values to average. And then here we are giving again the same symbol for having numbers entered by the user of this program. And then here again the input symbol is used, but this time for output, and then again an input, and here we see a processing, and here so this is condition, and here again now this thing is telling us that it's a loop. So for a specific number of time, and this part is getting executed again and again, again and again. So when this loop will break, once this condition is met, once the counter has become above the number which we set actually over here, so then it comes out of the loop, and then the average is being calculated, and then output is shown, and this is the end. Now if you see very carefully, there are some
हम सर आप लूप का दोबारा बताएंगे?
जी, लूप का मतलब ये होता है कि प्रोग्राम के किसी पार्ट को when we want to repeat again and again. So instead of putting those instructions again and again, what we can do, we can write them once, and we put some condition and ask the computer to check that if the condition is met, then come out of the loop. Otherwise, keep on repeating these instructions. So don't worry, the loops are going to come in very detail. At the moment, I'm just giving you some pictures that what is programming and how we write down the solution and then how we convert it. Now, in this whole thing, there are some basic concepts that we need to work on basic programming concepts that we have to learn from scratch. So don't get into any confusion that we are going on a pace. No, I'm just giving you that we'll be starting a program and then we'll be ending it. In between, what happens, we'll go through each and everything one by one. But what will be, this is a complete program. So to write complete program, there are some basic concepts, programming concepts. What are those? Number one is assignment. We'll discuss what assignment is. We'll also look into another thing, variables. We'll also look into arrays. But at the moment, I'm not going to discuss both of these at the moment. But I'm trying to concentrate at the moment on assignment. Yes, we will be assigning values to variables. And we'll be looking into sequence. We'll be looking into selection. We'll be looking into loops. Later on, we'll be looking into modular programming. And as we start our programming stuff, we'll also look into variables, and in maybe December or maybe in January, we'll also look into arrays. And the last thing that we'll look into is file handling. So believe me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, which is built in functions. This will come somewhere before modular programming. And what else is left? Assignment, sequence selection, loops, modular programming, and somewhere along with this modular programming, we'll look into structure charts. So this is what our syllabus is altogether. This is not going to be difficult at all. The problem only is logic. You need to think and you need to develop your logics. Now, if whatever I've written on the left and right side of the flow chart, I can link this, and this here is showing assignment, and here it is showing us sorry, this whole thing, this whole or this whole or this whole thing can be known as बल्कि है ही ये sequence. And this, let me put a red ink over here, this thing is known as selection, and this thing, as I earlier mentioned, is loop. So, and these two are variables. So let me erase this whole lines and keep it as simple as possible. This is our whole syllabus. We have to learn this in our paper 2. Paper 2 definitely is